week's parsha, Parshas Tetzaveh, it begins with the mitzvah that Moshe Rabbeinu was told by Hashem Yisparach to prepare oil for lighting the menorah that would take place daily in the Mishkan. So Chazal and the Medrash comment on this mitzvah of taking olives and crushing it and producing oil. And Chazal and the Medrash Rabbah, based on a number of psukim in Tanakh, explain that the Jewish people are compared to olives. And the Medrash explains, just as olives, you take the olive and you crush it, and through the crushing of the olive you produce something even more precious, oil, so too it is with the Jewish people. The Jewish people are great, beautiful, and unfortunately through the years of exile we're crushed, and we unfortunately are put through suffering because of the nations of the world and difficulties of exile. But what's produced at the end is something even more beautiful and even more special. The tshuva and the Torah and the mitzvahs that's performed by the Jewish people after being crushed is even more precious to God. That's what the Medrash says. So the Mefarshim deal with this is that there's a number of natural products that you can use with that metaphor. I mean, why aren't we compared to grapes in that way? Grapes also, it's a delicious thing, and you crush it and you could produce grape juice or wine. It's also, what's unique about the olive? So the Nesiv Shalom, the Sloan Rebbe, explained that here's what's unique about the olive. When it comes to a grape or an orange, an apple, you name it, certainly it's true that when you crush it, you produce the liquid that can be used in different ways. But ultimately, whatever usage you have from the liquid of a grape or an apple and so on, it's ultimately the same type of usage that you would have from the original product. So you eat the grape, and then you crush it and you produce grape juice, and you consume the grape juice. It's ultimately the same type of ingredient, type of product. What's unique about the olive is that after the crushing, you produce something that's altogether different. And what's different is the olive oil that's used to light and to ignite and to create a flame. That's not the same type of product, that's not the same type of usage as the olive, just 2.0. That's a completely different and new phenomenon altogether. Says in the Nesiv Shalom, what the Medrash is telling us about the Jewish people is that when we're pushed to a corner, when we're pushed to dig down within ourselves and to find an inner strength after sort of being crushed by the environment around us, what we find within ourselves is not just more strength. What we find within ourselves is altogether supernatural and completely different. And that's what's unique to the Jewish people. And the Nesiv Shalom goes on to explain that this phenomenon doesn't only have to be, God forbid, when there's anti-Semitism and suffering, God forbid, in that extreme way. But any time a Jewish person pushes themselves and is willing to be Moser Nefesh, to have some level of self-sacrifice in the service of God, and you crush yourself, so to speak, what you will find within yourself is not just more strength than you thought you had. You'll find within yourself altogether different types of strength that you thought you ever had. That's the difference. It's not a question of quantity, of you'll find more strength. It's qualitatively different. You'll find within yourself reservoirs of godly strength that you didn't even know those concepts and those types of strength even existed within you. And that's the power of the Jewish person. That's why we were compared to olives. That the more we push ourselves, the more we are crushed, the more we bear the burden of Yiddishkeit, the more we'll find within ourselves something that's even more precious than we could even imagine. The Rebbe should help that we should be able to find that strength within ourselves. And both individually and collectively, we should be able to come to Shabbos, with Menuchas Nefesh and Menuchas Guf, and see the redemption of our people. To be a Skol Tzedek, Meher V'Meinu Amen.
Thank you, Hashem.